Good morning. Or is it afternoon yet? No, it's 11. So, how's everybody doing today? I hope you guys are all having a wonderful day. I thought that I would jump on and share with a couple of you guys that maybe want to come to this live that are new around here. I thought I would share with you guys how I finally got sober and turned my life around, what that looked like for me, and what all it took for me to get to that point. So, for those of you guys that are new here, what's up? My name is Nicole. This is my channel, Discovering Nicole. And we're also on my Facebook, Nikki Pludre. Over here on my accounts, I love to talk about drugs, addiction, recovery, and so much freaking more. And today I'm going to share with you guys, like I said, about what it took for me to finally get sober. For those of you guys that don't know, I work a recovery program. I don't do AA. I don't do NA. I did at the beginning for a couple of years, about 4 years, 5 years of my sobriety, but I grew out of that and moved past it. And so I do therapy, and I am also prescribed Suboxone, medication-assisted treatment for opiate use disorder. I have been prescribed this medication for almost 9 years. I started out on 12 milligrams, and now I'm down to a quarter of 1 milligram. Hey, Matt, what's up, baby? And it quite literally helped save my life. So you'll never hear me saying bad shit about it, ever. I'm going to share with you guys, like I said, what it finally took for me to get sober. So let's get into it. So first you need to understand that I had been struggling with addiction since I was like 16 years old. Even before that, I struggled with an eating disorder, with binge eating and with restricting. And so my addiction issues stemmed in my life long before I ever picked up a drink or a drug. I struggled with the ability to control my intake when it came to food, when it came to candy, sugar, and drugs and alcohol. So you need to understand that. So I had been struggling with addiction for almost 20 years when I finally decided to change my life. And it wasn't like I woke up one day and was like, oh my gosh, I need to change my life, right? I had known for many years that my life sucked and that I needed to do something different, right? I had known for many years. I didn't have the ability to make the change. I didn't have the coping skills. I didn't have the wherewithal. I didn't have the determination. I wasn't ready to make the change. So for many, many years, I struggled in active addiction. Many years. I met my husband in 2012, and we ended up getting pregnant with our son, Nathaniel. And when that happened, that was really a changing point in my life because, it was one thing to fuck up my own life, but it's another thing when you bring a little baby into it. You know what I mean? And that wasn't lost on me. I realized that my drug addiction was affecting my child, So around, it was probably 2 or 3 days before my son's first birthday, my friend called CPS on me because we got into a huge fight. Okay. Now I want to explain to people, this friend wasn't a friend that didn't do drugs. This was my drug friend. We shot dope together. Okay. So she wasn't calling CPS because she wanted to save me and help me. Okay. She was calling CPS because she was pissed at me. All right. Because she owed me money and I went and got it from her boyfriend. Point blank, period. End of story. All right. She was we used together. And so she called CPS on me and then called me and told me, hey, bitch, I just called CPS on you. Okay. So I knew what was about to happen. So a couple of weeks went by after she had called CPS. And I guess they came by my house and I wasn't there. I was working. I had a full-time job. I was the assistant manager of a McDonald's at the time. And so they left a note on my front door that I needed to get in contact with them. Now, let me make this very clear to people that are watching my video right now. If you find yourself in this position, you don't have to talk to them. And I want to encourage you not to talk to them. Okay? Because when you talk to them, everything you tell them will be used against you. Everything. So my advice, I don't care if you're in active addiction. I would rather you have a fair shot. My advice to anyone who has CPS knocking on their door is to not talk to them. Get an attorney, ASAP, 100%. That is exactly, yes. Okay? You don't owe them an explanation. You don't owe them shit. What you do with your body is none of their business. So that's that. A lot of people will feel some type of way about me saying that. I don't care. Until you have been railroaded by Child Protective Services, I don't want to hear what you have to say because you don't know shit. So anyway, long story short is they left a note on my front door. Me being very naive and vulnerable, I thought they're going to help me. So I went down to their office and I admitted to them everything that I had been struggling with for the last 20 years. I sat there and I poured my heart out to the CPS caseworker asking for help. Okay? Do you want to know that the help that they gave me? The help that they gave me was telling me, don't worry, we're not going to remove your child. Your child can go with your mother and father-in-law and you can go into treatment. We'll even help you find a treatment center. And I was like, oh, thank God. Do you want to know what happened? The next day they came to my house and said, never mind, we're taking your son. You have to find a treatment center. And they left me high and dry. So they didn't help me find a rehab. They didn't help me find nothing. I did it all on my own. So they came in, told me if I did not bring my son into them, then they would have the police at my front door and I would go to jail. So basically, I didn't know any better and I thought that I had to do this. So I took my son and I gave him over to CPS. The moment that I handed my son over to Child Protective Services, I looked at my caseworker and I had already called a detox center. I already had a bed ready for me. I said, please take me and drop me off at this detox center right now. And she took me and she dropped me off. But she didn't find that detox for me. They didn't do shit for me. Okay, just know that. So I went to detox. Then I found my own treatment center. While I was in detox, I was on the phone all day long calling and finding places that would take my insurance. I got into a treatment center and I went to a treatment center 6 days later. They were going to let me out on a Sunday. I'll never forget it. While I was sitting in detox, they said, oh, you're done. You're done detoxing. It's been 5 days and it was a Sunday. You get to go home now. And I said, oh, you can't let me out of here. You can't let me out of here. It's Sunday. I will go straight to the dope man's house. You have to drive me to the treatment center or somebody needs to come pick me up, my husband, my father-in-law, and take me to treatment. Because if I leave here, I'm getting loaded. You know, I already knew. I had been through this a million times. And so I told the detox, I said, please don't send me home on a Sunday. I need to go straight from detox into residential. Can you please keep me here one more day so that way I can just transition straight into a residential program from here? And that's when, I'll never forget it. Her name was April. She worked at Recovery Centers of Arkansas when I went to treatment there. So she knew me already. She pulled some strings and she let me stay one extra night in detox. Who the fuck asks to stay an extra night in detox. Okay? I wanted to change my life. I wanted to be better. I wanted to do differently. So I stayed an extra night because Miss April pulled the strings for me. And the next morning, my father-in-law came and picked me up and took me over to the treatment center. Now, honey, I wish I could have said that when I got to the treatment center, I did so good and I was on my best behavior, but I wasn't. I was having to leave all the time because we were going to court. We were going to CPS court. And so I was taking Xanax when I would leave the treatment center. And the treatment center kept drug testing me. And they're like, why aren't your benzo levels going down, Missy? We're on to you. And then they caught me with the benzos. When they caught me, they had a meeting and they told me, if you relapse again, your rights will get terminated. They brought my CPS caseworker in, everything, and scared me straight. Okay? Now, y'all have to understand something. I was so fucked up over losing custody of my son that every time I went to see my child, I couldn't stop sobbing. My son didn't even want to come to me because I could not stop crying. My anxiety levels were so fucking high that my little boy was afraid of me. Okay? He would only go to my husband. That's how bad it was. So what I ended up doing was I ended up telling my husband, listen, I can't handle it. I cannot handle leaving the treatment center every day to go to visitations. I cannot handle leaving the treatment center every day to go to these court hearings. I need you to step up and do this part for me while I stay in treatment and get my shit together. And so that's what we did. I talked to my caseworker, I talked to my counselor, and my counselor even advocated on my behalf. He was like, I think this is the best decision you have made in this whole situation, because you leaving here, it is like temptation over and over every time I left, And so we decided that I wasn't going to go out for court anymore. And we let the courts know what was going on. My counselor wrote a letter to the courts and to the CPS people, and the CPS people even agreed. It was just too much. And I was trying to get and stay sober after just having my son that wasn't even a year old taken from me. So I ended up finishing up in treatment. And when I tell y'all, I put my fucking head down and I did everything they told me to do. I was on it like white on rice because I love my son and I knew that I was making a huge mistake. I knew that my baby deserved better. I just didn't know how to change to give him better. I didn't know how to do it. And so I was able to get sober and stay sober, and I graduated treatment. And when I came out of treatment, I'll never forget it. My husband had gotten on Suboxone, and I was so upset with him because I felt like I had heard so many horror stories about Suboxone. Everybody told me that it was just legal heroin. Everybody told me that it's just people that do that, they just want to stay high. They don't really care about being sober. And so when I got out of treatment and my husband was on it, I refused to get on it. It was recommended to me by my caseworker because a lot of you guys don't know this because I tell so many stories about my meth addiction, but I was a poly substance abuser. I was addicted to meth and opioids and benzos all at the same time. I used these drugs together interchangeably. Okay. And I was very, very strung out on intravenous Roxys. I shot up Roxys. At this time, fentanyl wasn't in the supply. So you could go and buy a 30 milligram Roxy, and it was really a Roxy. And so that's what I did. That was my other drug of choice. And so Neil got on the Suboxone, and I remember I was so mad at him. I was like, boy, you're just trying to stay getting high. Am I going to have to fucking leave you? Because I will do anything for my son, and I'm not going to fucking lose custody of my son because of your dumbass. And Neil was like, Nicole, they are the ones who told me to get on this medication. They're the ones who recommended it because of how long we have been addicted to drugs and how many times we've tried to get sober and not succeeded. So about a week went by, right? And Neil was fucking kicking ass and taking names. He wasn't having no triggers. He wasn't having no cravings. He was just, it was like he was coasting by. And I was over there struggling. I was crying myself to sleep every fucking night, y'all, because I didn't have my little boy. And so my husband was like, come on, let me just take you to the doctor and let's see if they think it would be a good idea for you. Right? So we went to see the doctor, and y'all will never guess who the doctor was. Okay. Hey, Last Chance. That's what I'm doing, honey. Putting my war paint on. When I went to see the doctor, it was the same doctor who was my doctor in the treatment center. His name was Dr. Michael Manino. And when I tell you, I did not like this man. Me and this man bumped heads, honey. We bumped heads. And y'all want to know why we bumped heads? Because he told me about my motherfucking self. That's why. He told me about myself, and I didn't want to hear it. So anyway, when I went in to see Dr. Mancino, he sat me down and he had me share with him my history. Okay. For those of you guys that don't know, I've been to 7 or 8 treatment centers and like 20 sober livings over the last 10 years, or back then it was the last 10 years. Okay. I had been to prison for possession of a controlled substance. I lost custody of my son, obviously. And the longest I had ever been able to put together and stay sober, like I said, was about 6 months. And I would always get to this like 6-month point and relapse. So I remember him sitting down and me telling him my history and all that. And then him asking me this point blank period question. He said, why do you keep on doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result? And he was talking about, why do I keep on trying to get sober through abstinence if it hasn't worked for me in 10 years? I had been trying for 10 years. And when I tell you guys, I had never had anybody say this to me. I had never had anybody make me think about that. And I sat there and I thought about it. And I said, well, because that's the only way I've ever told that was an option. I've never been given another option other than abstinent only recovery. So you mean to tell me that we're being given is one option? And honestly, you guys, it's the worst option. It's the option that works the least. Abstinence has like a 5% success rate, and that's me being generous. Okay? And that's the only option that we're told about over and over and over again. So you mean to tell me there's other ways to get sober? I had no fucking idea. I had no idea. I thought the only way to get sober and clean was through AA and NA and Jesus. When I was taught that there was another way that I could get help, do you understand what that did for me? Okay? So when he asked me that and I told him my answer, he just shook his head. Like, this is why people are dying. This is why millions of people who struggle with addiction are dying, because they are only being given one option to recover. And that's abstinence. Like I said, which is it is the option that works the least. So I said, you know what, Doc? I'm struggling. I'm willing to do whatever it takes, because I don't want to die, and my son is depending on me to get him up out of this fucking prison of CPS, right? I can't leave my son. I'm not fucking going down. I'm fighting. There's no way CPS is taking my baby and keeping him. They got me fucked up. Okay. So I got on MAT and I fucking haven't relapsed. I've been sober for 9 years, dude. I have 9 years sober July 13th. I don't even want to go out and use drugs. I don't even think about drugs. But it has taken me a lot of therapy and a lot of talking about how I feel and processing stuff. You know what I'm saying? That has really, really helped me a lot, you guys. But MAT helped me change my life. And so y'all will never catch me saying bad shit about this medication because it saved my life. It enabled me to change my life. It gave me a fucking foundation, dude, to stand on. Okay? Like, it is the literal thing that literally pulled me out of the gutter. So after that, I got on the MAT and I started fighting for my son. And I did everything they told me to do, you guys. I jumped through fucking hoops. Does every drug have a supplement? What do you mean, baby? Suboxone can be used for pain management as well, and opiate use disorder treatment as well. Suboxone was actually created like in the 60s or 70s, I can't remember, and it was created to treat pain first. So just so everybody knows that. Then the addiction community added naloxone to it and started using it to treat opiate use disorder. But I've heard other people that have addictions to other drugs say that it also helps them with their addictions to other substances. Okay. Yes, I'm on 0.25 of a milligram of Suboxone. I sure am. And I will scream it from the rooftops, baby. Suboxone saved my motherfucking life, dude. I couldn't stay sober to save my life. Okay. And so you can imagine how fucking fucked up it was, because I knew that my son's life depended on me staying sober. If I didn't stay sober, then my son was going to go to foster care for the rest of his life. So yeah. So anyway, I fought and I got my baby back. It took me a year to get him back, but I got him back. I fought so hard, you guys. I fought so hard for Nathaniel. Like I said, he is my everything. And there was no way that I was going to forfeit my child to CPS. You know what I'm saying? There's no way. But they tried to keep him. They tried to keep my son. They tried to say that me and my husband didn't deserve to have him back after a year of going through that bullshit with their motherfucking asses. Okay. And so it was a fucked up situation, but we ended up fighting and winning. And I'm just so grateful for the judge that I had, because the judge that I had, she overrode what the attorney ad litem would say. The attorney ad litem kept trying to keep Nathaniel from me and my husband for no reason at all. Me and my husband were sober. We were taking our medication as prescribed. We were going to meetings. We were getting our sheets signed. We were both in therapy. We both had full-time jobs. We had our own home. Okay. Like, we had our own transportation. We had everything. There was no reason to keep our son from us any longer. He had already been away from us for a year, you know? But we fought so hard and we got my baby back. And when I tell you guys, it was 2 years after I had gotten my son back, Child Protective Services called me up on my phone. And they were like, "You were such an amazing client that we want you to come back and work for CPS. We want you to be a parent partner." And at the time, I was so super passionate about helping other people, especially women that have gone through this situation, that I was like, I would love to do that. I would love to come and be a parent partner. and help people get their kids back, right? So I go and I go into work. It's my first day there, and it's a Thursday. I'll never forget it. I'll never forget it. And they partnered me with a girl who was special needs, okay, who had lost custody of her baby. And when I tell you guys, it was the saddest thing I've ever experienced in my life, because there was no way that this special needs woman could take care of the baby that had been taken away from her. The baby had a shunt, a G-tube, like all kinds of stuff, okay? And there was no way that this poor girl could take care of this baby physically. I'm not even talking about financially, okay? I'm talking about just doing the physical part of taking care of the baby. And these pieces of shit at CPS were stringing this poor woman along like she had a chance. And I just couldn't do it. I couldn't be a part of that. Sure couldn't. So I remember I gave the young lady my phone number and I told her she could text or call me anytime and I'd be there to support her. But after today, she wouldn't see me ever again because I wasn't going to work for this place. I wasn't going to work for these motherfuckers. And I walked out and I never fucking went back. It was the most horrible experience I've ever been in my life. And it was so fucking sad, dude. It was sad. It was really sad. So, being on Suboxone changed my life and saved my life. And like I said, I don't care if anybody thinks I'm in recovery. I don't care if people say that because I'm on it, I'm not sober. Like, I don't care. I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what you think about me. What I think about me is all that matters. And what my son thinks is all that matters. And my son has his family back. Can you imagine being less than a year old, not knowing anybody except for your mom, your dad, your Gigi, and your papa, and waking up from a nap in a complete stranger's home? Can you imagine the trauma that my son experienced? Waking up, not being able to talk, not being able to tell anybody what he needed or how he was feeling, and not knowing where his mom was at. Can you imagine going from sleeping with your mom and dad every night? Your mom would rock you to sleep, or your Gigi would rock you to sleep, and waking up and your family is nowhere to be found. That shit haunts me, okay? It haunts me every day of my fucking life. I don't see how that is beneficial for anyone. You know? I don't see how doing that to a child is beneficial at all. To the child or the parent who is struggling with addiction. But hey, that's just me. What do I know? Right? What do I know? But yeah, you know, me and my husband, we put one foot in front of the other. I literally got a job and worked my ass off. I didn't have a car. My husband had a car though. And I would walk. I made sure I got a job that I could walk to that was in walking distance of our house. I walked to my job every single day. That's why when I see people online complaining and crying about their life, I just be looking at people like, because honey, if you want to have something and you want it to happen and you want to change, you'll make it change. You'll make it change. You'll put in the work. Straight up. Point blank period. End of story. Ain't no complaining about it. You'll put in the work. And that's what I did. I put in so much work, y'all, to get and stay sober and changed my whole life. Okay. I went from being somebody who was in a constant state of methamphetamine psychosis. Okay. I was somebody who stayed around tweakers. Those were my people. Okay. To somebody who literally changed their whole life. Okay. I started hanging out with only people who were going to help me benefit and improve my life. Other people that were in recovery, other people that had jobs, other people that were doing things that I wanted to do to improve my life. And that is how I got and stay sober, because I changed everything about my life. Everything. Okay. Okay. Oh, sorry about that, guys. Um, so I just want people to understand that, like, if you want to change your life, the only person that can do that is you. Okay. You have the power to do that. And don't let anyone tell you any different. All right. You have the power to change your life. All right. You're not powerless. You're not diseased. You're not once an addict, always an addict. You can overcome that part of your life and move past it. Okay. I want people to understand that. I want you to know that you're more than your addiction. Okay. You're more than that. And you can do anything you put your mind to. You are powerful. And until I started realizing that, I struggled for many, many years. But now that I'm realizing how much power I really do have, baby, sky's the fucking limit. So I hope you guys enjoyed this pep talk for the Monday morning. Okay. Life is, we are always changing, right? Always changing and growing and evolving. So don't put yourself in a box. Don't limit yourself. You can do anything you put your mind to. Don't let nobody tell you any different. And to anybody out there who is judging people who are on medication assisted treatment, like I said in my last, eat a dick. Nobody cares what you say. Nobody cares what you think. Um, all that we care about is people that care about us and love us, our family members who have us back in our lives, in their lives, our children who have us as parents, our jobs who don't have to worry about us calling in and not showing up because we're high as hell, right? That's what matters. And so remember that. Remember that. It's really easy to get caught up hearing all the negativity and the bullshit that people say online. What really matters, though? All right. All right. I love you guys. Happy Monday. I'm going to go put the rest of my mascara on, and then I'm going to chill with my little Rocky. He had to get 5 shots today. So I went and got him some extra treats, and I'm just babying him. He doesn't seem to be phased by the shots. He doesn't even feel like, he doesn't even act like he's in pain. Let me go get him so y'all can see that he's okay. I'm going to come say hi to everybody. Say I was taking a nap. I was taking a nap. You okay, my snuggle? You okay? No, sweet boy. I know. He had to get rabies, distemper, and a couple other things. But this is your daily dose of Rocky. Rocky and Mama sitting in a tree. I love him. He is me. I love you. You're my baby. I'll never let you go. When I took him inside the vet, he had his little face all up underneath my neck. He was like, Mama, don't make me go. But you know what they did for me? They even filed his little nails so they're not so sharp. But look at my beautiful boy. Look at my beautiful little boy. Okay, Rocky. I know you was comfortable. Do you want to go up here and lay down on Pocketville? Here, come here and lay down on Pocketville. There you go, babies. Get your little pillow, okay? There you go. There you go. I love you. Okay. That's my baby. So, no, he is so good. Listen to me, you guys. I take him everywhere, okay? So one of the things I hate about smaller dogs is that a lot of times they'll be like nippy, yappy ankle biters. I am taking Rocky everywhere with me. So he's extremely socialized, right? And so everywhere we go, people can come up to me, they pet him, they kiss him, they love on him, and he's well behaved. He's not jumping and scratching, soaking in the lovin's. But it's because I take him everywhere with me. Like I have broke him in. He's used to being everywhere with me. I have this little backpack thing he sits in right here, and we go to the school, we go to the Walmart, we go to the Kroger, we go everywhere together. So that's my baby. But anyways, I love you guys. I hope you have a great Monday. And yeah, I love y'all. See you later. Bye, guys.